business to attend to tonight before we induct the 23-24 class. Maureen Greenlee was unable to be with us last year, and it's my pleasure to induct her this evening. Now we can show you the secret handshake. No. Our first inductee is Maureen. She put forth one of the greatest swimming careers in the storied history of the program, gaining a school record 12 All-America performances and taking CAC Swimmer of the Year honors in 2004 and 2006. Upon graduation, she held 8 school and conference records, including in the 50 free, 100 free, 200 medley relay, 400 medley relay, 200 free relay, and 400 free relay. It would have been easier to just list the ones that you weren't the record holder of. I get that now. She vaulted the Eagles to 4 conference championships and 2 top 25 finishes at the NCAA championships. Maureen doesn't have the typical swimmer's build. She was always slighter of build than her competitors, but I can assure you, after watching her dominance, she was 100% tenacity from the tips of her toes to the top of her cap. If you don't believe me, that you can actually see someone swimming angry, I'm sorry I can't put into words what a show she put on. I asked her head coach, Matt Kinney, about Maureen, and I asked him for a paragraph, and he sent me 7, because that's Matt. He's a writer. And he had the following to share. Maureen came into college with great natural speed and a desire to get better. But I can also remember her first year and thinking, this poor girl's never going to survive. Maureen struggled with some sickness in her first season, and her training ability was, how shall we call it, inconsistent at best. And then there's a little winking emoji. What she lacked in training prowess, Maureen more than made up in competitiveness. Qualifying for NCAAs as the sole female Mary Washington swimmer in her first year and heading to NCAAs was a great learning experience for her, with some best times in the biggest venue. And by her junior and senior years, Maureen had established herself as a top-notch NCAA level racer, finaling in the 50 free in her junior year and breaking the school and conference record in her senior year, going sub-24. Maureen's growth and tenacity in the pool was mirrored by the success of the women's team during her 4 years of swimming. Her stellar speed and constant relay efforts helped establish the women's relays and set the bar for future teams with top 8 finishes at NCAAs, as well as just missing the team top 10 scoring in her senior year. Quite a journey for her and the team in just 4 seasons of swimming. Besides the many swimming accomplishments, I would like to thank her and the rest of the 2007 seniors for convincing me to take them to a movie the day before the national meet began, a movie where all 8 of us proceeded to weep inconsolably in a Minneapolis movie theater as we watched 8 Below, not exactly the lighthearted movie we expected, as we headed towards the first morning of NCAAs. As well as the joy of rolling up in the van, listening to Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani prior to every session that year. That song still takes me back to that incredible weekend of swimming. Congrats, Maureen. You were a phenomenal team leader, builder, and inspiration to the success of swimming at Mary Washington. And I could not be prouder of all that you have accomplished in that time and continue to this day. Oh, God, get up here. I'm so honored to welcome to the podium the newest member of the UMW Athletic Hall of Fame from the women's swim team, 12-time All-American Maureen Greenlee. Where's the photographer?
Yay! Wait,
she is.
Do we want goggles on or off? There.
All right, there you go.
Where's the pool, though?
Where's the pool? I can go get a couple.
Lovely.
Just use that glass of water.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Clint, and thank you for letting me come and receive this honor this year. I was supposed to come last year, but right around the time of the ceremony, my mother passed away. So obviously didn't make it here. And she would have loved to have come to this. She was one of my number 1 fans. And I think I read somewhere one time that the best parental type of support for a child's athletics is just the parent enjoying the sport with them. And she certainly did embody that. The thing that every single athlete wants to hear from their supporters is, I love watching you fill in the blank, play field hockey, swim, and that was definitely my mom. So I think she would definitely appreciate this because, she was getting up at 4:15 with me every morning, to drive me to practice. She actually got pulled over by the cops one time on the way back from dropping me off at swim practice because there was a house burglary in the area, and so the only people on the road were the parents of swimmers, so she was very embarrassed because she was still in her bathrobe. So that's the type of support that most athletes need. There are very few sports that you can do alone, especially with a sport like swimming that is very resource intensive, both with time and financial. So she would have loved this. I do have family here today. My Uncle Tom, Aunt Teresa, thank you for coming. Uncle Tom's been to quite a few of my meets. My best friend from high school, Priyanka, is here, so she was also a big supporter during my athletic beginnings in school. And then my teammates, Dale, Trish, Kristen, Justin, head coach now, Amir Washington. It was a lot of fun. Sprint freestylers get all the glory because we're on all the relays. And so that's how I was able to accumulate a lot of these All-Americans was the relays, and that was you guys too. So it was a lot of fun. Coach Kinney, who can't be here tonight, phenomenal coach. We butted heads quite often, but I really love him, and he's a great coach. And he is the reason we had such a successful program for so long here at Mary Washington. He's a huge reason why I came to this school was the swim program, in addition to the athletics or the academics. I had a lot of fun. When I'm in the Army Reserve, I told my battalion commander I was going to miss drill weekend to come to this, and he said, "Oh, that's interesting." And he gave me some statistic about some very high percentage of women CEOs were college athletes. And I think that's just, you learn a lot of persistence, tenacity, dedication, how to be a team player. And that was Mary Washington Athletics. Clint, I love seeing your face again. You're kind of like Cedric Rucker in that, even though they didn't let you leave Gulrick a lot, right, but I think you need a building named after you at some point. But this guy, he always impressed me because he knew every sport inside and out, and I think you contributed to that feeling of Mary Washington being a smaller college, like a family, because he would come and support every single sport. You would come into that awful chlorine poisoned environment of Gulrick to see us, and I was just so impressed you would bother with the little old swim team. But you contributed to that feeling that was very special on this campus, so that we were all kind of a family, and you recognized people even if you didn't know their names. So thank you for this. Thanks for letting me come and speak to you all. I had a great time here. Love my teammates. It was very special, and thank you.
Yeah, great job, Mommy.
Also, I didn't shout out my family's here, but they didn't want me there.
All right. Now we're moving on to the 23-24 class, and our first inductees from the women's soccer team, Kathryn Amirpashaie. Woo! Kat ranks as one of the top offensive players in women's soccer history, as she still ranks third all-time in goals scored with 39 and points 103, and ranks fifth all-time in assists. A leading scorer on 4 NCAA tournament and CAC championship teams, she scored an astounding 7 goals in 12 CAC tournament games, and the Eagles finished with a 12-0 record in those contests. She was named the 2004 CAC Player of the Year, in addition to gaining 3 first-team all-conference selections, and was a member of the CAC's Silver Anniversary team announced in 2014. I asked Kat's coach, Hall of Famer and Silver Fox, Kurt Glazer, for his memories of Kat. Kathryn was an offensive catalyst, very creative on the ball and comfortable playing either an attacking midfield role or front runner. She was dangerous to opposing defenses, but especially good at running at defenders. Kathryn improved significantly over time in her ability to play the more physical college game. When she was on her game, she was just fun to watch, both as a passer and a scorer. She had the ability to contrive. Nice. Contrive space in the penalty area for a quality shot and often a goal. Kathryn had some big goals in a run of 4 NCAA tournament years, not least of which was one at York in the CAC championship game with, I believe the t-shirts the next year said 17 seconds left by the game, which we won on the ensuing kickoff in overtime. Thank you, Joanne. I think we beat them the next year too. Ouch. As I think with many creative people, Kathryn had a uniqueness to her communicative abilities that kept the atmosphere around her lighthearted during pre-practice, during water breaks, and on road trips, mostly intentional. She was the key, I believe, in helping to generate that unique team chemistry that created some epic wins and occasional emotional carnival rides. As her 4-year coach, it was satisfying to see her grow into a consistent and steady personality on the field. She was ultimately the scorer and playmaker we needed to pair well with the stingy defenses we had those years. Kathryn was also a very solid academic performer. And it is my pleasure to present the newest member of the University of Mary Washington Athletic Hall of Fame from the women's soccer team, number 9, Kathryn Amirpashaie. They didn't give me one. You, here, photographer. Hold it. Hall of Famer. There you go.
My hands are so sweaty.
That's all right. This is my water.
Do you want to leave that for me? Okay. I wrote my speech. Okay. I'd like to preface that public speaking is one of my top 3 greatest fears behind death and flying. This was on my to-do list for months, but I work every day and I have 3 little kids, so I just wrote this. I'll be reading it, so sorry for the lack of eye contact. Okay. I want to start by thanking Clint for everything he's done over the decade for sports and athletes here at Mary Washington. I don't know where he went, but I can't tell you how important, oh, there you are, it was to have you at all of our home games. I felt like we had our biggest supporter there, and we appreciate that. That meant a lot, especially being away from home. I'd also like to thank Coach for not only leading us to, where's Coach? Okay, you went to the back? Okay. For not only leading us to conference championships all 4 years I was here, but for also stepping into a pseudo-dad role for us when we came to college. I may not have listened as well as the other players when you told us to pass or get back on defense. And I think I cried every time we had an annual conference. But hopefully having me on your team was more of a positive than a negative. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame today is the pinnacle of my personal athletic achievement. Besides a short stint in law school as a star flag football quarterback, it was pretty much downhill for me after college. I tore an ACL trying to play indoor soccer. I tore my other ACL playing outdoor. Then I had a kid, another kid, another kid. I ate a lot. I don't know when I ran the last time, so I might be out of breath during this. But I think that inside me there's still a tiny athlete running around hoping to get back on the soccer field one day. But being inducted into the Hall of Fame today is, did I already say that? The pinnacle of my personal athletic In soccer, it's not the individual player who determines the team's success, but the way the team plays together as a whole. And my college career was a huge success because of who I got to play with and because of how Coach trained us to play together. One of the unique things about being a college athlete is that although we had to essentially leave families and homes and go off on our own for the first time ever, we arrived at college with a built-in family of sorts to get us through the transition of being on our own. Hold on. I cried when I typed this too. The girls here and the other girls I played with were our friends and confidants. They introduced us to new people, took us to our first parties, made sure we always had someone looking out for us, showed us where to eat, shared rooms with us, showered with us, Amy, and walked along with us as we became our own people. And fortunately for us, Coach picked not only great soccer players, but also great people. I was blessed with teammates and friends who worked hard, stayed focused, knew how to laugh at themselves and each other, and were kind and responsible humans. And because of that, I was able to rely on my teammates. I worked hard for them and competed for them. And the wonderful, magical thing about being on a team is that your teammates will do the same for you. They push themselves and they work hard so that the team as a whole can achieve its goals. And when you do that together, you all become better versions of yourselves as players, teammates, and leaders. And this team was my favorite team I've ever had the honor of playing with. And I feel so fortunate that many of them are here today after 20 years. Yes, we're old. Unstoppable when I was out there on the field with you guys. I felt like no matter what, we were going to win and that we were the team to beat. I still remember the CIC championship game that Coach was talking about our junior year against York. Probably half our team were seniors, and it was the core group of girls I had played with through most of my college career. And it was the first time, maybe in history, that anyone other than us in Salisbury were in the finals. And we were losing to York 1-0 in 5 minutes. And I remember looking around and seeing like the senior girls as they were playing crying. And I remember looking over at Coach, and he was sitting on the bench and looking at the clock. And I remember looking up at the clock, and there was like a minute left. And I heard Dad yelling and Elise's dad yelling. And then I think Jackie got the ball on the outside, and just everyone started running for their goal. Like Kathy, our sweeper, was running. I think Emmy, our goalie, got up. Like everybody was just crowding the box, and Jackie crossed it, and it went past everybody. And then Rachel, our defender, had come up, and she headed the ball in, and everybody was there. And it dropped. I watched it drop between me and 2 defenders, and I just hit it as hard as I could, and it went up as I fell and hit the top of the net and went in, and we all like dogpiled and screamed and cried, and then the whistle blew, and we were tied, and then we went out, and Coach gave us a pep talk. We went in, and Joanne scored in like 8 minutes. I didn't even get to go back in because Coach was like, I'll sit you for a few minutes and rest you. But he scored, and then we won the championship, and it was like exhilarating and exhausting and magical. And we had 17 seconds left when we had scored, and the next year they had a warm-up shirt with 17 seconds on it, which, hold on, let me get to that part of my speech. Which is a good reminder never to quit and keep pushing yourself to the end. And I think that sentiment boils down how I see the life of an athlete. I often think about the fact that being a soccer player and an athlete has impacted my life and who I am more than any other factor in my life besides obviously my family. To this day, when I'm faced with a deadline or something difficult, I always say to myself, I used to be an athlete, you can do this. And my mother-in-law always tries to tell me, you still are an athlete even if you don't feel like one. And I know she's right. I know that like deep in me, I still have that, and I can do hard things. If I put my mind to something, I'll find a way to accomplish it. And soccer gave me that. It gave me the gift of confidence and determination and courage and willpower. And it taught me hard work, discipline, and sacrifice. How to be a leader when I need to step up, and how to be a follower and a teammate when the situation calls for it. And soccer taught me to be humble and gracious in wins and losses. and how to be intrinsically motivated and do things for myself and for my own self-worth. And I know every other athlete in this room probably feels the same way. We are wired differently because of the sports we grew up playing. Looking back on my life, soccer was always my safe, happy space, the place where I didn't doubt myself, where I knew I was good, and where I excelled. And I feel like a lot of times women in particular feel insecure or out of place as we move through different stages of our lives. But soccer gave me the gift of never feeling that, which I'm grateful for. One of Mia Hamm's old coaches once said, "The final measure of athletic greatness is not what you do in the training session with your peers and teammates. It's what you do on your own." And so I would like to give my biggest thank you to the man who shaped me into the soccer player I was. He was there for me from my first game to my last. He drove me to hundreds of practices, games, and tournaments. He worked with me for thousands of hours to learn the game. Why am I crying so much? And hone my skills. And he's ultimately the reason I'm here today being inducted to the Hall of Fame. That man is, of course, my very first coach, my dad. I would never have become the player I did without you pushing me from the very beginning. From that first game when I was 6 years old, and I hid my shoes so that I wouldn't have to play. And you told me, "Let's just go watch your team play." And then you secretly bought me a second pair of shoes and made me play. To some of my last games playing in the 30 and over league, you were always there to push me and teach me how to become better. After every practice and every game, you'd come over and grab my neck and tell me good job, and then immediately start telling me ways I could do this or that better. When I was little, on days my team didn't have practice, you used to make me go to Veterans Park and practice dribbling through cones over and over again. Even when I didn't want to, you'd have me there practicing shots and passing. And it was because of that, because of your instruction and the extra effort, that I'm here today. So thanks, Dad, for spending the time and effort to mold me into a real athlete and a true soccer player, and for gifting me this beautiful game you grew up playing. And thank you to my mom, who, despite not liking sports or soccer, still showed up for me at every game and yelled and cheered for me, even though she didn't know what she was yelling sometimes about offsides or penalties. She was always there to support me and push me to be the best I could be. So thank you guys for always being there and rooting for me, and I hope I can give the boys that same presence, support, and love. And I want to finish this speech by saying something to my 3 little boys. Why are you crying? I love you. You guys, I didn't think you'd be paying attention, but you are. All right, Caleb and Hunter, and I don't know where Finn is. Oh, Finn. He doesn't know what I'm saying. I hope you fall in love with a sport someday the way I fell in love with soccer. I hope it's soccer, but whatever it is, I hope you pour yourself into it completely, and it becomes who you are to your core. I hope you find lifelong friends playing it like I did. And I hope one day when you're bent over, exhausted, dripping sweat, and you look up and you smile because you're out there doing what you love and leaving everything you have on the field. One day you will get to feel what it feels like to hit the ball perfectly and have it come off your foot or out of your glove or off your bat, and just know it's going exactly where it's supposed to go. That is one of the best feelings, a perfectly hit ball. I hope that you have the focus to listen to your coaches and to learn the intricacies of the game you love, and that you learn to win and lose with humility and respect. I hope that when things don't go your way, you don't quit. You take it and you use it to make yourself stronger, work harder, and get better. I will always be there for you guys, but you'll have to learn how to pick yourselves up, and that is what sports will teach you. To keep going, to not be afraid to fail, to push yourself through hard things, because that is how you learn your limits. I hope you always remember how it feels when your team comes from behind to win a huge game, or how it feels to get your first real trophy. The sense of achievement and pride you get, you should chase it in whatever you do in life. And I hope one day when you're old like me, you step back onto the field with your kids and all those feelings come rushing back over you, if only for a minute. Because when you truly fall in love with this sport, it'll always be a part of you. Love you guys.
You just wrote that. Are you kidding me? When I got inducted, it was during COVID, and I got like an extra 9 months to prepare my speech, and I don't think I would have been able to do it without that. That was amazing. I usually cry at what I say, and I was crying what she says. So, anyway. Our next inductee joins us from the men's tennis team, class of 2009, John James. Come on. There you go. JJ completed his career as the winningest player in singles play in UMW men's tennis history with 90 wins. He also ranks third all-time in overall victories for singles and doubles with 164, as he also won 74 doubles matches in his career. A member of the CAC Silver Anniversary team, JJ gained All-America honors in singles from 2007 to 2009 and advanced to the round of 16 in the NCAA tournament each season. He claimed the CAC Rookie of the Year in 2006 and CAC Player of the Year in 2007 and 2009. Who won it the other 2 years? I wonder. I asked his coach, newly minted member of the 400 Win Club, Todd Helbling, about JJ. He was so quiet and calm on the court. He had an inner fire and belief that did not show outwardly in words or emotions. He was a tremendous competitor. His only real physical weapon was his backhand up the line. He was extremely consistent and outstanding when being put under pressure, but his main weapon was simply his will and competitiveness. He won too many close matches to count. Playing number one singles for 3 years and being number one all-time in career singles wins is incredible. He was not a fantastic doubles player by physical definitions, but again, found a way to win a ton of big matches for us every season. I feel blessed that JJ chose Mary Washington and represented Mary Washington with such class every time he stepped on the court. Please welcome to the podium our newest Hall of Famer from the men's tennis program, class of 2009, John James.
Thank you, Clint, for that nice introduction and all the hard work you do putting this event together every year. Thank you to the committee that selected me for this honor. When Clint first called me last September, I didn't answer. I didn't have his number saved, and any 5-4 number I don't recognize, I assume is a nice undergrad asking for a donation. And it's tough to tell him I'm sorry, but I already gave. Clint was finally able to get a hold of me and tell me the exciting news that both Randy and I were selected for the Hall of Fame, so I've saved his number. This is something that I would have never believed possible when I started here, and I've spent a lot of time recently reflecting on my time playing tennis and being part of the UMW tennis team. I first became aware of Mary Washington when it came up as a top academic fit for me in some research my high school guidance counselor did. Then I did my own research, and I saw the campus, the tennis center being built here, and the program's history, and I knew it could be a great option for me. After a visit to the school, some calls with Coach Helbling, and watching the team play a match, I narrowed it down to UMW and one other school. The coach at the other school seemed mildly interested in me, but on a visit, the number 2 singles player told me if I worked hard, I may be able to make the lineup as an upperclassman, but probably not. So I decided to come to Mary Washington. I was fortunate enough to get to play that number 2 singles player in a summer league after freshman year, and I'm pleased to report that with just 1 year of UMW tennis under my belt, I delivered a beatdown that he could never forget. I suppose I'm also eternally grateful to him because that match was so satisfying, and he may be the reason I'm here today. My parents always supported my tennis growing up. I got into tennis because my dad was a professional tennis player. He played in all the Grand Slams multiple times. And I'm probably one of the few college tennis players that can say, I couldn't beat my dad until I was in my 20s. And he still plays often and well, so I'm probably the only college tennis player where dad's turned the tables and he beats me again. Despite his competitive background, or maybe because of it, he always seemed the most chill out of all the tennis parents. He was never upset at me when I lost, only if I lost my temper and behaved poorly on the court. My mom, she was also supportive and perhaps recognized I could be hard on myself. She recognized it best. So if I lost badly, she would help me see the bright side of things and tell me at least I didn't waste a lot of time losing a long, close match. Or if I lost in a tournament, at least we didn't have to drive all the way back there tomorrow. And I was thinking about this recently, and I think she may have been rooting against me because she didn't want to do the long drives. My sister Courtney also played college tennis, and she played for Manhattan College Jaspers. She may not know, but she has likely played a big part of me being here today. I played the number 3 position my freshman year, and 2 University of Mary Washington greats, Paul Bristow and John Clare, played ahead of me. And I was very nervous about moving up to the number 1 position. I figured I was probably going to lose every match. So that summer while teaching tennis, I went to the track a lot on my own. I did endurance work and sprints, and I even got strong enough to do a push-up. Everybody knows on the team that that's true. It's not even an exaggeration. Courtney also practiced me quite a bit, and I devised drills where I would hit to half the court while she hit to the whole court, and I would play sets against her while wearing ankle weights. She willingly complied with all my requests and never questioned my eccentric training regimen, which seems to have worked, because that year that I thought I was going to lose all my matches, I set the single season record for most singles win in a year. Thank you. Thanks to all the pros at Chestnut Ridge Racket Club in Mount Kisco, New York. It's the only club I took tennis lessons at since I was 10 years old. My dad, Bob, Seth, and Olga, all of whom I spent many hours working with there, are still teaching there now and have made the difference in the lives of so many students. I know I could have never achieved this if it weren't for Coach Helbling. He's, I believe, the perfect balance of serious and fun. He's a competitor, whether on the tennis court or playing bocce ball during our California spring break or really anything. He helped instill in all of us the meaning of being competitive yet respectful. I'll never forget playing a match against him freshman year, besides being very amused by the hollering of G-rated curse word alternatives, which I still find myself saying a lot. I realized after a few points, this guy is getting really fired up. He really wants to beat me, and he's pretty good. Coach, he always likened the matches to the practices to making deposits, and the matches are where you get to make the withdrawal. I didn't love practicing, but eventually I came to enjoy practicing just as much as the competition itself. So I have him to thank for that, because it's made a lasting difference in everything I do. I believe a college coach can be one of the most important adult influences in the lives of someone ages 18 to 22, and we were fortunate to have one of the best. He's a big reason why so many of his players go on to be successful adults and good people, and it's someone we always know will be there for us. As time passes, all the memories become good memories. The wins, the losses, the tunnels at Gustavus. I knew you'd like that, Evan. And even getting in trouble and having to run with weights. Thank you, Coach, for making our time at UMW so special. Tennis is an individual sport, and I never had the experience being on a team with other good players until college, where we competed as a team and practiced together every day. We had great teammates all 4 years, and lasting memories made both on and off the court. The greatest on-court memories for us came during our 2008 season, which culminated in 2 dramatic 5-4 comeback wins against Washington and Lee and Trinity, Texas, to make the NCAA Final 8 at Bates College. Besides being in a challenging section of the draw and beating Trinity, Texas, a team ranked well inside the top 10, we overcame a lot of challenges that year. Some of our top players dealt with injuries. Only Randy and Kaz could win a doubles match. And someone even started a D3 tennis blog where some of the disrespect written about our team and our abilities was so troubling that I ended up posting anonymous comments, posing as a deeply offended fan. The rest of the team and coach quickly figured out it was me. Making the Final Eight while overcoming some challenges, both real ones and ridiculous ones, is something we will never forget. And that team is certainly Hall of Fame worthy. I'm so grateful to share this honor with Randy today, a great friend. We were both 2009 grads and got to experience our entire college career together. I believe we made it here today because we could push each other. Randy won the ITA doubles and became an All-American a few weeks into his freshman year. At that time, I wasn't competitive. I lost 6-0, 6-0 in that ITA. But Randy showed me anything was possible. If I worked hard, I could have some exciting moments too. Randy was good his freshman and junior year, but he was a completely different player our junior year. While I attribute my success to the hard work I put in on the court, all Randy had to do was read a short book called The Inner Game of Tennis. And that seemed to change everything. He became one of the top singles and doubles players in the country during our junior and senior years. I know Randy put a lot of work in on the court too. Still, I always admired him for how laid back he is, so it's perfectly amusing for all of us that a book captioned as "A Timeless Guide to Achieving a State of Relaxed Concentration that's not only the key to peak performance in tennis, but the secret to success in life itself," was something that made such a difference for him. I also appreciate the Loden family who come to so many of our matches. They were very supportive and a lot of fun. Congratulations, it's great seeing you all again today. It's been 15 years since we graduated, and I did get a great education in Mary Washington, but up until the age of 22, tennis was the activity I took the most seriously. So I'm sorry if there are any professors here, but if I had to choose between losing a tennis match and failing an exam, I would hands down fail the exam with 0%. Like most college athletes, though, my competitive career is mostly done at 22. I still feel young 15 years later, so there's some level of disappointment that perhaps we couldn't play a few more years and maximize our abilities. But after years of tennis clinics, junior tournaments, being part of the UMW tennis team was the pinnacle that I know could never be matched. I'll always cherish the memories made with Coach and the rest of my team, which now includes this one here today. Thank you very much for this. It means a lot.
I don't even need to do Randy's introduction. He already did it. Next. Our next inductee also hails from the men's tennis team from the class of 2009, Randy Loden. Randy finished his banner career with the second most singles and overall victories, 165 in program history, and gained All-America honors in doubles in 2006 and 2008, and in singles in 2008 and 2009. A member of the CAC Silver Anniversary team, Randy ranked as high as 5th in the nation in singles and 8th in doubles, both in 2008, and was subsequently named CAC Player of the Year. He gained first-team all-conference honors in each of his 4 seasons, competed in the NCAA Singles Championships twice and Doubles Championship 3 times, and won the ITA Regional in doubles in 2005 and singles in 2007. And I might add here, was on the receiving end of one of the greatest photos ever taken when Randy clinched the 5-4 match win in the NCAA tournament, 3rd round over Trinity, Texas. Look at that, would you? Randy, don't sell yourself short for your contribution to the photo. I asked Coach Elbling for his memories of Randy. There were so many things that I appreciated about Randy. He was all in for our program and our team's success every day and all year long. He was my go-to for 3 years on recruits and any team issues. He's still one of our biggest followers and supporters to this day. He was very thoughtful with his game and development and very calm on court. Randy was hardworking and very smart, which allowed him to overachieve, getting the most out of his 2 weapons that he improved on throughout his 4 years. I'm so thankful he chose Mary Washington and proud of his development and tremendous successes on and off the court. He was an excellent sport and true leader during his 4 years. He is definitely one of our all-time greats and so deserving of this honor. So at this time, please join me in welcoming to the stage our newest member of the UMW Athletic Hall of Fame from the men's tennis program, Randy Loden.
Thank you for that. JJ, thank you for the kind words. Good evening, and thank you for this wonderful honor. I'm truly humbled to be standing here before you. It's just a cool and unique experience to be part of. Thank you, Clint. Congrats on organizing another amazing event and for all that you do for Mary Washington Athletics. It's truly special stuff, and thank you for being there to capture that very, very cool moment. That was wild, so thank you. And congratulations to all the inductees. I've enjoyed learning more about your stories, journeys, and experiences here at Mary Washington. I'm humbled to be part of this class. Thank you to my parents, Mom and Dad. I'm so blessed and thankful for all that you've done for me throughout my life. You always put me before yourselves and gave me the gift of tennis that has provided me with so many great friends, relationships, and experiences. You never missed a match, and I know I can always lean on you for support and encouragement. Dad, you're my great unofficial coach, always teaching and thinking about how I could improve my game. I love talking through matches and strategies with you. You really did give me a leg up, and so much of my success is because of you. And Mom, you always balanced out Dad. You cared more about how I carried myself and behaved than winning. You were always there to support me during my ups and downs. Thank you so much. I love y'all. To my brothers, Brian, you were always a great sparring partner growing up, and you beat me more times than I care to remember. Thank you for being a great big brother. I really appreciate you and Brennan being here tonight, all the way from South Carolina. And Kevin, UMW Hall of Fame, class of 2020. It's an honor to follow in your footsteps and share in this wonderful honor with you. You carved out a unique and successful path at Mary Washington, and you showed me what was possible at our college of choice. You and Connor Smith were the rocket foundation the coach built such a successful program on. You've been a tremendous asset for the program and an inspiration for me. You're always there when I needed advice, and your insights were invaluable. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and Kathy, another Mary Washington alum, for being here tonight as well. And to my wife, Evan, our paths did not cross until after college, but I'm so happy how things have worked out. Thank you for being by my side, for making me a better person, and being a wonderful mother to our 2 young children. I'm looking forward to what life has in store for us, and I know the best is yet to come. I love you. When choosing Mary Washington, a big thing for me was always playing and competing for something. I had little interest in going to a mid-tier D1 school and finishing in the middle of the pack. I liked the idea and purity of Division III athletics and what it stood for. I wanted to be a part of it. There were no guarantees, but I wanted to compete for conference titles, participate in the NCAA tournament as a team and an individual, become an All-American, and ultimately compete for a national championship. UMW tennis had a national reputation for taking good players and making them great. I knew if I attended UMW and bought into the program and what it represented, that I could achieve these things alongside my teammates. By standing here tonight, I can confidently say that I made the right decision in choosing Mary Wash. Mary Wash also provided a first-rate education and the ability to have a social life outside of tennis. For me, Mary Washington experience was a perfect balance. Tennis in my college experience pushed me and made me more resilient and tougher for all else in life. It taught me how to handle adversity, how to get back up after a loss, and I lost a lot, and how to keep pushing and keep going. We competed at a high level, which allowed me to tap into parts of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally that I did not know existed. My teammates and I dug deep so many times to overcome challenges, to meet our goals, and to attain the achievements we'd expected of ourselves. But what college tennis experience taught me was that if I showed up every day, did the things the right way, practiced intentionally, and strived to perfect my craft, I'd reach a level I did not know possible. A lesson that sticks with me from my freshman year to the last match of NCAAs my senior year was that if I control what I could control, my attitude, my emotions, my belief in myself, and my work ethic, that over the fullness of my career, the small daily improvements would compound to produce huge results in a level of play that I did not think I had inside of me. I know my teammates and I overachieved. We were not the best players or the most gifted, but we outcompeted our opponents by playing directionals, by not checking out points early and having a game plan and structure to our matches, by being tough and gritty. We played the game the right way. There were no easy outs. And looking back, I have zero regrets on how I competed day in and day out. Also, upon reflection, I was fully invested. We gave it our all. We took care of our bodies. We visualized success before matches. We didn't take days off. We had soul in the game. What I learned by being fully invested is that the small incremental improvements compound on themselves, like I previously mentioned, but it set me up for stair-step or large dramatic gains at unexpected times. These are the equivalent of years' worth of improvement over a single weekend or spring break trip. They came unexpectedly, and I kept those stair-step gains and then could incrementally compound from this much higher level. This is where the magic happened, where I could be here tonight. But to have these Lollapalooza results, you have to be all in, to have exposure to the ups and the downs. You must be present and earn the right to these special moments where things align to produce outsized and exceptional results. 2 episodes come to mind for these stair-step improvements. This is funny. This was not planned, JJ. The first was during my sophomore year on spring break trip. On the flight to California, I finally finished a book that I had read on and off for several years. I had read it, a chapter, put it down, and picked it up a couple months later. The book was The Inner Game of Tennis. It was a great book, and not about tennis per se, but more about the human condition and the psychological aspects of sport. It provided techniques for improving performance by mastering the inner game. Some general themes are conscious versus unconscious mind, being present, letting go of expectations, focus, visualizing success, and the role of coaching. These are all lessons that were practical at the time, and they still are today on and off the court. For whatever reason, something clicked for me on that spring break trip. I gained an edge, and the results followed. I handily defeated someone I had lost to the year before and went 5-0 in singles against some of the best players in the country. The other stair-step moment was during the fall of my junior year, the ITA tournament in the small college national championships. I was playing good tennis, but had limited success at the ITA in the past. I had a lot of question marks in my mind about how that weekend would go, but I was out to prove something. For whatever reason, everything just came together. I moved great, the ball looked like a balloon, I could not miss a forehand if I tried, and I was present and focused. I was shocked at my level of play. At the start of the ITA that weekend, I was a pretty good D3 player. I went on to win the ITA and later finished 5th at Nationals. I was now one of the best players in the country. It seemed like it happened overnight, but it was the culmination of years of hard work and being fully invested. While tennis is an individual sport, what I enjoyed most was the team aspect. The van rides, Friday night challenge matches, the epic NCAA Trinity match, that one, spring breaks in Newport Beach, and the wins and even the losses were all better because I got to share it with a great group of guys who all competed for a common goal. I love playing for Mary Washington. I love playing for my teammates and friends. And I love competing for coach. Even before my time at Mary Washington, I was blessed to have seen and had exposure to the previous greats and Hall of Famers, Connor Smith, Dan Uar, and of course my brother. And while at UMW, I had the privilege of playing doubles with national champion Paul Bristow and sharing the court with the likes of Johnny Clare, John Pollock, Eddie Carver, and All-Americans Evan Goff and Kaz Murata. And one of the toughest outs in D3, Jason Dunn. That brings me to you, JJ. Where'd JJ go? Congrats on your induction to the Hall of Fame tonight. You are, and were always a class act and a fierce and gritty competitor. Man, you were tough. And I'm so happy and privileged to share this honor with you. I can confidently say I would not be standing here tonight without you. You set the standard. And you always gave me and others something to strive for. You made us better by the level that you set for yourself and your teammates. You were a quiet and humble leader, a terrific teammate, and most importantly, a dear friend. So thank you and congratulations again. And coach, you made this all possible. You were and still are the heartbeat and soul of Mary Washington tennis. You epitomized the good and what college athletics are all about. You taught me how to win. You taught me how to compete. You simplified the game for me, and you pushed for more. Far more than I thought possible for myself and others. You were never satisfied, which at times could be frustrating, but it was because you had such high expectations and belief in your guys. And most importantly, you were a family man of integrity, honesty, fairness, and faith. By your actions and words, you showed me how to be a man and how to treat and interact with the people you love each and every day. Coach, the imprint and influence you had, not just on me, but on so many of your guys, is remarkable. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. For my buck, you were truly one of the most important people to ever walk the grounds of Mary Washington and in my life. Thank you. Thank you again to my family and friends who are here tonight. I'm truly grateful and blessed to have you all in my life. And thank you to Mary Washington for providing a platform to let this all be possible. This is such an honor. I'm so appreciative for this opportunity and recognition. Thank you.
How great is this, huh? Wow. Our next inductee comes from the women's soccer program, class of 2004, Kathy Wainwright. Woo! Good job, Jess. Kathy remains one of the top defensive players in women's soccer history. She gained NSCAA All-American honors in 2003 in her senior season, in which the Eagles captured the Capital Athletic Conference Championship and advanced to the third round of the NCAA Championship. Sparked by her leadership, organization, and stellar marking, the Eagles allowed just 14 goals in 4 seasons in conference play and just 6 in 12 conference tournament games and advanced to 3 NCAA tournaments during her career. She was a 4-time all-conference pick. Now, defensive players, I'm entitled to say this. My wife was a defensive soccer player in college, so I'm under requirement to say. Defensive players often have a hard time getting recognition, but when you just watched her play, she immediately stood out. Kurt and I used to joke all the time and lost count of just how many times during play we'd find ourselves muttering out loud, "Thank God for Kathy," because she wiped away so many offensive chances for the opponents. I asked Kurt for his thoughts about Kathy. Kathy had an incredible work ethic, was skilled and athletic, and was a leader on the field. Extremely coachable, she led by her actions first, but also directed not only the back 4 or 3, as the case may have been, but team defense, instructing teammates on tactical positioning, as well as ball movement options. Her passing was exemplary, as was her ability to get us out of trouble single-handedly when the situation arose, as it sometimes did with some younger players in front of her. She left it all on the field, and the coaching staff saw and knew how exhausted she and her backline mates sometimes were after a game, especially early in the season when team fitness levels were perhaps not where they could have been. He's sitting back there. Back there he is. It seems she and the other defenders relished the challenge of the early season nationally ranked teams on our schedule, but it wore them out until the next game. Kathy always stepped up big time in the end of season and season conference tournament and NCAA tournament rounds as well. Finally, I think Kathy did a very good job in helping to maintain a chemistry in those years that was perhaps unique to some of my other NCAA tournament level teams. It could be a real roller coaster ride at times with some of our personalities. But Kathy helped steady the boat and kept us afloat until we hit our stride. A well-deserved All-American and also an excellent student. It's my pleasure to welcome the newest member of the Mary Washington Athletic Hall of Fame from the women's soccer team, class of 2004, number 14, Kathy Wainwright. I took that picture too. Congratulations. I think that's our cue.
So I will say, just like Kat, I hate public speaking. I also wrote this morning, and I will keep it short and sweet, really for my own benefit. First, I want to say congratulations to all of the other Hall of Fame inductees, in particular my former teammate Kat. Thank you to the selection committee, Clint for putting all of this together, and everyone else for being here. A few years ago, Clint reached out asking for some information about my soccer career at Mary Wash, kind of for the Hall of Fame nomination process. Things like goals, assists, points, awards, etc. And to be honest, I didn't have a lot to relay. I actually remember being a little bit embarrassed. The last person to get inducted into the Hall of Fame from the soccer team was Ellen Anderson, who was this amazing center midfielder. She had like 1 million awards, and she, at the time, was the all-time leading scorer. I felt I didn't compare at all. And to be honest, after hearing about all these other amazing athletes and they're getting inducted, I kind of still feel the same way. As Clint mentioned, I was a defender, and specifically a sweeper my last 2 years at Mary Wash. There aren't really a lot of stats for things like number of tackles or number of times you pull a team off sides. I kind of figured, you know what, I'll send the information over, but to be honest, there's no way I'm going to get inducted. A few years go by, I kind of forgot about it. And then out of the blue in September, I was actually in Ireland with my husband and my 2 kids about to go into this big family dinner outside of Galway, Ireland, and I received a call from Clint. And to be honest, I was completely floored, surprised, and very humbled for him to relay this to me. As a defensive player, and for those of you who have ever played in that position, you will very much understand, you tend to be the ones that do the grunt work. There isn't a lot of glory or excitement to what you do. In soccer in particular, you prevent goals. That's your role. But the only way you do that is with your team. Whether it was Rachel Vaccaro running down an opposing player, Emmy Fulco saving another goal, Lauren Icehold and Heather Hateman having, strong tackles, or the entire team in front of you doing what they do best, it really is everyone as a team and not an individual. And that really got me thinking about Mary Wash and D3 sports in general. We don't do this for the glory or now the money. We aren't playing at UNC. We're not playing at Stanford. We grew up as kids playing these sports. We play because we love the game. And we really do love those who are around us. Sometimes we're even lucky enough to play with teammates that go back to childhood. Like I was fortunate to play with Joanne Walker, Elise Vasic, and Lauren Icehold, both as kids and at Mary Wash. It is this time together and bonding that makes D3 sports and our time at Mary Wash so special. It's the end of practice sprints, ice packs and bloody stumps, bus trips, and literally last-minute 17-second goals to win championships. But it's also the never-ending canoe trips down the Rappahannock during the middle of a drought, a seance to ward off a choking goat, Coach Glazer having underwear discoveries on the bus, teammate makeovers, and of course containing the 3 Bs. All of these are what make the Mary Wash and general college athletic experience so special. So to me, this award is really a representation of you all, my teammates. I may be the one that's up here, but there is no way I'd be up here without you guys. And while this is amazing, what my greatest memories will always be are the time spent with each of you and the Silver Fox. So in conclusion, I want to say thank you to my husband, Garrett, my kids, Kaya and Levi, my parents, Duncan and Joyce, my brother, Tom, the selection committee, Clint, and the university. But specifically, I want to thank Elise, Jess, Joanne, and Lauren, whose friendships mean more to me than you all will ever know. And also, I want to thank Coach and all of my teammates. You all taught me so much about life, friendship, and the least of all about soccer. So truly, I would not be up here without you. And as a reminder, after this event, girls, do not wear your Mary Wash gear downtown. So thank you guys.
Kathy, I'm sorry your teammates came tonight. I remember the seance, by the way. Wow. Our final inductees this evening rank as one of the greatest teams in any sport in school history. The 2012 field hockey team advanced to the NCAA Division III Final Four with a 20-2 overall record. Winners of the CAC Championship, the Eagles started the year receiving votes in the national poll and spent the second half of the season ranked inside the top 10. The Eagles opened the season with 11 straight wins, including over nationally ranked Lebanon Valley, Lynchburg, and Catholic. After a double overtime loss on the road, we won't mention who, UMW closed the regular season with 5 straight wins, including a 3-2 win over number 1 ranked Salisbury. UMW cruised through the CAC tournament with multi-goal wins over St. Mary's and Wesley, and then defeated Eastern and Lynchburg to reach the second Final Four in program history. With all due respect to these wonderful ladies, they brought an awful watershed moment to me personally. And that realization was that they were giving me and all their parents hypertension. I remember the feeling of falling behind in the CAC semifinals against St. Mary's before winning 5-1. Then I vaguely recall the stress of falling behind to Wesley in the CAC championship before winning 4-2. They were only getting started. First round of NCAAs against Eastern, you guessed it, 7 minutes until halftime, down 1-0. Then Lisa knocked one in and another in the second half, and Amy scored one late so we could all exhale. Then Lynchburg. We fall behind early. Lisa and Flo do their thing about 2 and a half minutes apart, and we're feeling good, up 2-1. Then with about 15 minutes left, lousy Hornets tied it. But wait, here comes Miss Caitlin at 60-48. Game winner, Final Four clincher. Whew, past the roll aids. The accolades from this team are immense. Amy Abernathy, Caitlin Baker, Lisa Charney, Haley Kane, Jenna Steele, Florence George, and Claire Gianelli were named to the all-conference team, with Lisa gaining Player of the Year honors, Jenna taking Rookie of the Year, and Coach Lindsay gaining Coach of the Year. Coach also won NFHCA Regional Coach of the Year, with 5 players gaining All-American honors from Synapse Sports, with Lisa gaining National Player of the Year, and was joined on the All-America First Team by Caitlin, and Claire was named as a third-team selection. Haley and Jenna were named to the National All-Freshman Team. Lisa and Caitlin were named All-Americans by the NFHCA, and Lisa was named the first ever UMW Female Athlete of the Year. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium their coach, one of the last people to make it here today, Lindsay Barbacow. And of course, Lindsay is back in Salisbury now, but Ed was smart enough to grab her for a short period, and this was just one of the highlights of Lindsay being with us. So, ma'am, the podium is yours.
Good evening. I guess can you hear me? All right. I think I printed it big enough, so hopefully I won't need my reading glasses, but we shall see. I blame it on having children late in life that now my eyesight is gone. All right. This is such a special group, and I hopefully won't cry, but you never know. Good evening, and congratulations to all the inductees tonight. It is with immense pride that I stand before you today to celebrate the induction of the 2012 field hockey team. As a head coach taking over a program, I had high expectations of what we could accomplish. Little did I know that in my second year, this extraordinary team would grant me the privilege of a Final Four experience. We were a small team of 18, and these women showed dedication, working tirelessly at every practice, whether enduring their favorite inline passing drill or the countless conditioning sessions Kim and I put them through. Their commitment never wavered, and we were persistent in my belief that we would not be outworked or outplayed by any opponent. And indeed, that determination drove us to an impressive 20-2 record. We beat some teams we weren't supposed to, like number 1 Salisbury. And as a former Seagull and current Seagull, I have a lot of pride in that, beating them that day. So today I am a Eagle. And we continue to climb in the national rankings and make an unbelievable run in the NCAA tournament, beating an unlikable Lynchburg twice that season. While the sting of our defeat to Montclair still lingers, I confess that I have yet to this day rewatched that loss, even though the DVD still sits in my office drawer at Salisbury. I hope each of you will cherish the memories of that season and your time representing UMW on the field. It was an incredible season, and one I hope you look back on with fond memories of proving how tough you were, the friendships you developed, and the lasting impact the sport of field hockey has given you. I am proud of each of you for the contributions you gave both on and off the field during your playing time at Mary Washington. As we celebrate the collective achievements of all the inductees tonight, I extend a special congratulations to the 2012 field hockey team. Congratulations, ladies. This is your day. Embrace it with pride and celebrate the memories of your remarkable journey. And I wasn't that late.
All right, I'd like to welcome all the members of the team, coaching staff up to the stage, and I would like the captains to come to the microphone and keep it clean. Come over here and get your fantastic awards.
Thank you.
Come on by. Shake
Thank you.
and grab. Shake and grab. Shake and grab. There we go. You guys get it. There we go. Congratulations. We need a bigger stage. Next time it's going to cost $50 to come to this so we can buy a bigger stage.
Thank you. Oh boy.
You guys can just go.
Can I pass it? You might have to situate over on that side too. I'm gonna come over. Don't go too far.
Oh, look at this. What a team. I think there's a few extras.
Okay. Yes. Right away.
I'm not talking.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are so excited and honored to be here. On behalf of our team and our fellow inductees, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. Thank you. This recognition is a testament to the hard work, sacrifice, and dedication that we poured into a game that we all love. What a wonderful occasion to bring the gang back together.
Today is the day, ladies. Today is the day. Our journey wouldn't have been possible without the incredible guidance and mentorship of our coaches, Coach Elliott and Kim, more fondly known as Linz and Kimmy. Thank you both. Funny enough, they both came from very successful rival programs. We do not hold that against them. But how many Hall of Fames are you guys in now? You're really racking them up. They were a great coach duo who balanced each other out. Kim would give us a heads up if there were sprints planned. Coach would not. She would just tell us to get on the line. All jokes aside, they not only taught us the skills of the game, the importance of the give and go and the flat and through. We did that every day. So they also instilled in us values of teamwork, perseverance, and sportsmanship that extend far beyond the field. A special shout out to Clint and the entire UMW athletic department for their support from organizing games and hyping us up in the post-game recap article. We also can't forget, I forgot where I was. Oh, our amazing athletic trainers. They kept us in shape and ready for our games. They would see most of us before practices, even the 6 a.m. practices, and then they'd be lucky enough to see us after for ice. So I know that we couldn't have done it without our athletic directors as well, our athletic trainers. I'm not a public speaker.
Of course, none of this would have been possible without the love and support of our parents. They were our biggest cheerleaders, traveling to games, heckling referees, and being there for us through every win and those 2 very tough losses. The memories we shared with them at the Stonehouse for post-game tailgates are some of our most cherished memories, including the foods. Reflecting on our journey, there are so many unforgettable moments that stand out. Winning the CAC championship against Wesley at the Battlegrounds, our thrilling victory over Salisbury under the lights, which I must admit, I blacked out during those last 10 minutes, and remember asking Caitlin, is there really 2 minutes left when we went up 3-2? And finally, securing our Final Four appearance by beating Lynchburg on our home field. These are not just wins on a scoreboard, but symbols of our determination, teamwork, and heart.
All right, let's not forget about the camaraderie we built off the field, girls. The weight room sessions in the Gulrick gym, the study halls, the music video making sessions that we all had, our Friday pregame dinners, and the experiences of surviving 3 days and all the fitness tests. Thank you, coaches. These moments shaped us into the athletes that we are and created lifelong friendships. We are extremely grateful, and they're memories that will always hold dear to us. To this day, we find ourselves fortunate enough to stand by each other's sides as each of us get married. We get to meet each other's newborn children, and we get to travel the world together.
So as we stand here today, entering the Hall of Fame, we carry with us the lessons learned, the bonds forged, and the countless memories that define our time at Mary Wash.
Thank you to everyone who believed in us, supported us, and helped us along the way so that we could reach this incredible milestone. Here's to the next generation of female athletes and enduring the legacy of UMW athletics.
Thank you, and it's a great day to be an Eagle.
The extra ones on eBay. It's cool. They're fully authenticated. Well, that's about it, folks. I want to thank everybody for coming to today's ceremony. Today's class shows how brilliant anyone can be and how each of us can make those around us so much better by our example. I hope you all continue to come back for this event each year, which truly shows how special Mary Washington is and how special the people are that it produces. Thank you very much, and have a safe trip home. Ooh, Happy New Year. To the inductees, we would like to get together for some group photos with you guys with your plaques. So if you could come up to the stage for that, that would be fantastic. Thank you.